Welcome back to College Football Addiction. A big one in the SEC this week. We've got Jay from Unfair Sports on. Jay, how you doing?
Pretty good, TJ, man. Glad to be back on.
No, I appreciate you taking some time and chatting with us. Well, we'll just get right to it. Jackson Arnold revenge game this weekend. That's the storyline, right? I mean, so you got to talk about it. But Oklahoma and Auburn. Oklahoma gets their second big game of the year. Plenty more to go. They're in Norman. What's the reception like? Let's just, before we even get into the X's and O's of this thing, what's the reception like for Arnold when his name is announced as the starting quarterback of Auburn?
I mean, it's probably going to be a mix of cheers and boos, probably. You got to remember that when he was at Oklahoma, and I've said this, I've even put up video over on Locked On Sooners as well as over on Unfair Sports, that it's okay to boo the man. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Why is there nothing wrong with that, TJ? Because we booed him while he was there actually in Gaylord Memorial Stadium too. So it's not like it's any different than anything else that we've done. It's not like we're completely changing our entire environment just to coddle this situation. No, he's probably going to get some cheers initially, and then they're going to boo him while he's in the game. To me, the biggest thing is be respectful about it. Booing is a part of the sport. Booing is a part of sports. So it's okay to boo the opposing guy. Just don't be, horrible about it.
I'm with it. These guys are making money too at this point. This is closer to professional sports than it's ever been. So, yeah, man, I don't care, right? I'm not a big fan of any of the really negative stuff that goes on. I know that fans are fans, but yeah, I don't care, man.
Yeah.
And some guys thrive on that. So maybe he, I remember the Kobe commercial where he, like, everybody was, jeering him and stuff, and he's just like the virtuoso, like, playing that. Yeah, bring it on. Some people feed off that. So maybe Oklahoma don't do it too much. Oklahoma's quarterback, John Mateer, the Heisman frontrunner at this point, and there's a lot of season to go. I know Beck's up there too at Miami, a couple of portal guys. But Mateer's been impressive. Thoughts on him against this Auburn defense, which showed some cracks, certainly, against Baylor. I do like Sawyer Robertson a lot, so that's not any kind of thing to sniff at. But it feels like it could be a really big day for Mateer in this offense against this Auburn defense.
Yeah, it should be a big one for Mateer. Like you said, Sawyer Robertson threw for 410 yards in that game. And so, and I promise you, Oklahoma's better than what Baylor had put out there on the field. Mainly because the entire game plan that Auburn had was, we're just not going to expose Jackson Arnold to making mistakes. We're going to let him just run the ball down their throat. And what did Baylor do? Oh, okay, we're going to let you run all you want to. We're going to focus on going deep. We're going to stop Singleton. We're going to stop Cam Coleman. And we're just going to let you run if you want to run all over us. And so that's basically what Auburn did in that game. And now they've got another dynamic running back in Jeremiah Cobb, who's playing some really good football right now. And their guy that was initially going to be the main guy has been fighting some injuries, so he should play. But for Oklahoma on the offensive side of the ball, John Mateer is going to go out there and be John Mateer. This is his game. This is his style, the way he plays. He's not the first quarterback we've ever seen in college football go out there and dominate as a passer and a rusher. Heck, you just saw Diego Pavia do it last week. What are we doing here? Why do people even think that that's not a possibility? Devin Dampier is doing it at Utah. This is something that's going to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that, and we've also seen it happen in the SEC where guys have been successful because John Mateer is a bigger dude than people realize. He's a pretty thick guy. So to me, I think this is just going to add to his Heisman campaign and conversation because I think he's going to have another ridiculously good game.
When you think about Arnold, certainly seems like he's taken some steps from when he was in Norman, but what has he done that has impressed you, and how much does he maybe concern you in this game?
He's gotten more comfortable with running the ball, with just going out there and just running and just, realizing that, this isn't going to work. Boom, get out there and go. That's kind of something that I was hoping that, Jackson Arnold would grow into, the guy that sees, okay, these are my options, and then just go ahead and make that run. So I like that he's gotten decisive. I do still think that he's kind of slow in the processing portion of it. Some of the passes feel like they're borderline telegraphed. But I think that that's something that just takes time and growth and reps in order to get better at. They haven't thrown the ball much, so it's not like we've got much tape on the throwing side because they haven't had to. Yeah. You just run the ball down people's throat. That wins a lot of football games, especially because it controls the clock. Now, Michigan tried that on Oklahoma, and that wasn't as successful, and I'm kind of thinking Michigan probably would beat Auburn in a game. So we won't do transitive property here, but at the same time, I'm just going to point that out. I think Oklahoma's defense is ready for a guy that's going to run the ball. I think they're going to really force him to pass the ball more often than he wants.
I'll get right back over to Jay, but first, the more or less game that we played on the Power 2 on Wednesday afternoon has a ton of guys that you can go and pick from this game, whether you want Mateer, whether you want Jackson Arnold's more or less, whether you're looking for this guy or that guy. Make sure that you are using our code CFA for 100% match up to $100 on the Sleeper app. The link is in the description. You don't even have to put the code in. If you download the Sleeper app, it'll be auto-filled for you, and they will take care of you on that deposit bonus. Make sure that you are using the Sleeper app for all things sports, whether you're just checking scores, whether you're doing eliminator leagues, whether you're playing fantasy football, or playing the more or less game to win up to 1,000 times your money. Terms and conditions apply, so check Sleeper's terms of use for details. We appreciate them for their support. Yeah, that was going to be my follow-up was, and we know Venables, we know this Oklahoma defense, and we know how stout they can truly be. And having seen a different but similar in some respects Bryce Underwood and Michigan team, it's got to give you some confidence that, I mean, I don't expect for Arnold to go just for a crazy amount on the ground or the air, to be honest with you. And so unless he really kind of plays out of his mind, I think, Oklahoma is very well equipped to take on this kind of a quarterback. Now, a mobile quarterback is always a challenge for anybody that plays anywhere. I mean, we saw the best Bama teams of the late 2010s, or early 2010s, struggle at times with mobile quarterbacks. So it's not unthinkable that a guy could get off a couple of times and kind of change a game. But I do think that this Oklahoma defense is well equipped enough in that situation. How do you think they play it? Do they spy a little bit? Do they? What is the strategy? Do they just try to contain more on the edges and not rush up the field, or what do you think they try to do defensively against albeit a pretty good Auburn offensive line that is pretty good?
Yeah, the offensive line is pretty solid. I think that they'll probably, if they decide to pass it, they'll go into max protect, try to make sure that too much pressure isn't thrown on Jackson so he has more time. I anticipate them short routes, quickly getting rid of the ball, because there's one thing we know Brent Venables will do. He's going to blitz you. And he's going to blitz you in the weirdest ways. We saw that against Michigan. We saw that against Temple. We saw it against Illinois State, regardless of the competition. We saw that against Alabama. And for Oklahoma, I think that their game plan is really going to be similar to the one they did against Alabama and Michigan, kind of a combination of two quarterbacks that's better runners and throwers. But Jalen Milroe, to me, was a really good passer in moments. He had his moments where he was on the dot, and he had some elite receivers, similar to Auburn, right? So for me, it's going to be a lot of blitzing, a lot of pressure, and really clogging up the interior, forcing him to have to scramble out. Now, if you get Arnold out there in open field, it can be a challenge. So you got to make sure you have dudes that are fast enough to go out there and catch him. And you got to remember, this defense knows him. They saw him all camp last year. So they understand what they're going to be dealing with, and they probably have an idea of ways to get in the right angles in order to beat him. So Oklahoma's going to blitz a lot. They're going to keep pressure on him, but they're also going to make sure they stuff that inside and stop those run concepts. Like you said, Auburn has a really good run game, and their offensive line is solid. They're also dealing with some banged up players on the line, similar to Oklahoma. Well, heck, every team in college football is dealing with some sort of banged up players, right? That's kind of what you do when you get into week 3. Week 4, the good thing for Oklahoma is they got a bye week right after this with the game against Kent State. Then they got that 4-game stretch that's going to be a challenge in all SEC play. But yeah, I see in this one, it's going to be a good chess match that we want. The question is, what does Brent Venables brew up for Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, you mentioned Kent State. They've played Texas Tech already. They come to Tallahassee this weekend. I'll be up there for that one, and then they have you guys. So what a they're Jets, brother. So you got to build your program somehow. So prayers up for the Kent State folks. Thinking about the other side of the ball, is if the task of going up against the Brent Venables defense is not daunting enough, I haven't been very impressed with Auburn's offense. Auburn's defense this year. When you think back to that Baylor game, man, I don't want to just sell all doom and gloom for Auburn, because football is weird and weird things happen for sure.
It does.
But it does feel like this is a massive Oklahoma advantage when you look at the Oklahoma offense versus the Auburn defense.
It can be. Again, you go back to the teams they played, South Alabama, I think they gave 300 something yards and 20 first downs to them. Baylor, if Baylor would have thought about actually tackling, the run game or attacking the run game. You would think Dave Aranda, as a defensive mastermind, would have focused on that. They didn't. That's what you probably would do to win this game, but they didn't do that. So they allowed for, Auburn to go cook as they did. And so for us, man, we know with their defense, they give up yards. Their corners they're not only a little bit banged up, but they're susceptible to quick passes as well as deep ones. And so for us, it's going to be it's going to be John Mateer out there playing pitch and catch with his receivers. He's got some really good weapons. He's got some speed guys. He's got some possession guys. And so I think Mateer is going to be really trying to find ways to force the linebackers and the safeties' eyes using his eyes in certain areas. He's also going to tuck and run. Don't get it twisted. He is going to tuck and run. And so this will be similar to Michigan. He may run the ball 10 to 15 times easily. In the other games, he only ran 7 times against Temple and Illinois State, mainly because he really didn't want to run. You could tell he didn't really want to. In this one, I expect he's going to have to, because I think that DJ Durkin is going to turn up the heat on this one. And so I anticipate John Mateer is going to, do some moving around, and he's going to play off the ball. He's going to scramble and make some good plays. And I think his wide receivers are going to get a good, chemistry going in this one.
Give me, and I've asked you this each time you come on, but give me, outside of Mateer, a player to watch on offense and a player to watch on defense in this one that you've kind of got your eyes on.
I think the player to watch on offense is going to be Jaren Kanak, tight end. He is a converted linebacker. He also leads the country in yards for tight ends, which is really crazy. Top 10 in the SEC in yards this season. No touchdowns yet, but I think one will come. He had a trick play that he should have gotten, but he kind of pulled up. But, it is what it is. But Jaren Kanak is definitely going to be a weapon. Auburn's always been a little susceptible in that Durkin defense to give up plays across the middle, especially the tight ends. I think Kanak's going to eat the entire game, and they're going to try to find a way to stop him, and then the problem leads right into Isaiah Satania or Deion Burks in trying to stop them as well. So I think Jaren Kanak's going to have another big game. The expectation is he's going to be leveraged a lot. If we go on the defensive side of the ball, with one player that Jackson Arnold does not know is Kendall Daniels, linebacker that transferred in from Oklahoma State, and he's had some big plays. For example, if you go back to the Michigan game when he hit Justin Haynes in the backfield, that's like probably one of the biggest hits in the season. He tried to kill a guy. He went in and hit him as soon as he touched the ball. I expect him to do a lot more of that stuff as depending on the short routes or the quick routes that Auburn runs, that he'll be there waiting and looming. Him and Michael Boganowski, who got a sack in the Temple game. I expect to see a lot of him at the safety spot as well. And Reggie Powers III, he got a sack against Temple last week too. So I think that you're going to see a nice little 3-headed monster with them 3 really looming around. And Kendall Daniels is he's like 6'5". He's got like a 6'8", 6'9", 7 feet wingspan. Like his wingspan is huge. I'm not sure the exact number, but he's very long, lanky, but he's a real thick dude. So I expect Kendall Daniels to get some big hits in this game, especially as they try to play across the middle.
Jay, where can people follow you? Where can they find all your content?
Awesome. You can find me Unfair Sports here on YouTube, as well as wherever podcasts are downloaded, listen to. You can also find me over on Locked On Sooners. TJ, good to talk to you again, man.
Well, I'm not letting you off that easy. I just wanted to get that in. I wanted to get that in before I asked for a prediction, but yeah, go and give me a score on this one.
All right, so I think I'm a pretty nice guy in a lot of this stuff. So I'm gonna say 25-9. Oklahoma wins. I think they're gonna force a bunch of field goals. I'm not sure if they'll give up a touchdown. They've only given up 1 touchdown this season. Potentially it could be a big play could happen where we give up a touchdown, but I anticipate it's going to be a lot of forced field goals, probably big plays that lead to field goals because this team is really good at that part. And so I'm going to go 25-9 just to be nice.
I like Oklahoma a lot in this. And not to piss off the Oklahoma fans, I'd like if this was closer than your score. Just as a college football fan, I know the Oklahoma fans don't want that. They think your score might be too low for their stress levels, but
they do.
I would like to see a little bit better game. I'd like to see Auburn scheme some stuff up and Hugh kind of get into his bag. I don't know how confident I am in that against the Brent Venables defense. Maybe if this was Gus doing it, I'd have a little more confidence because I'm a little biased after these first couple of weeks of the season. But I like Oklahoma pretty easily here. Hopefully, again, not to piss off the Sooner fans, but hopefully I'm wrong so we get a good game there in Norman. But yeah, it's tough for me to see the paths to an Auburn win. I think Oklahoma's a little bit better on offense, a little bit better on defense, and most of the time the team that kind of claims that, who's playing at home, wins the game. But this is a weird sport and weird things happen, so we'll tune in either way to watch it. Jay, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, man.